a bit dark in here, isn't it? There we go. Right, what can you see? You can see a slightly angry cow. Yeah, I'm not going in with you. Go on, go on, go on, go on. So what we've got is Fern the cow, who's in rude good health. Rude being the word, because she's a little bit cross. Because yesterday we had to catch her, put her on a halter, and feed that little calf, because predictably her udder is sort of too low for it to latch on to easily. Now that's not to say we won't win, because we will, because we'll persevere, but it comes with at a cost, and the cost is there's an element of danger about it, but what we're going to do is to mitigate that danger is have a well thought out plan. She's calming down now. A well thought out plan where we put the needs of her, Fern, obviously the little calf who's really keen for a feed, and ourselves, and we managed to do that yesterday. We popped her on a halter, which popped her on a halter's a bit simplistic. It's it's not the easiest thing in the world. Can you see how that calf's looking to feed, but it's just going high instead of going low? So it's not fed naturally. But what we were able to do yesterday is empty her udder, every bit. Between David, Philip, and myself, we managed to milk her out, and to feed that calf with a bottle with a teat on the end, and it's got a good suck, so it will be reared, barring some unexpected tragedy, but we're very confident it's a very viable calf, and you can see it is, but it's ready for another feed. So we're girding our loins and getting ready for round two, and it's obviously not what we want, because we want just to be able to stand back and watch and admire and enjoy the moment. But what we're having to do is intervene to make sure that calf gets the nutrition it needs, and we did that yesterday, and we'll do it again today. Victoria Wood, I'm like either Dickie Bird or Ricky Hatton's name suggestions. I must admit, Victoria, I really like the thought of calling it Dickie. I think it's a nice little name, and it's a nice nod to a Barnsley gentleman, So why wouldn't we call it Dickie, or, what's our prefix? Is it Cawthorne or Cannon Hall? King Richard of Cannon Hall, Dickie for short. Goodness me, Big Red has just done the biggest poo you could ever imagine, and that's because she'd been fed prodigiously well. She's got a great appetite. She's feeding Little Red tremendously well, and Little Red will go into a show soon, so that's exciting as well. There's all sorts of stuff that's coming on, coming at us like an express train. We're going to have the sheep sale on the 8th of November. If anyone out there is a sheep keeper and would like to consider keeping Dutch spotted sheep, then we will be having a production sale. A production sale is where you sell some of the sheep that you've bred over the last couple of years, because you can't keep them all. Bernie says, morning. Bernie said something which I've forgotten now. Sorry, Bernie. Let's see if we can find it. Good morning, Farmer Rob. What a wonderful sight. Thank you. And that's it's a wonderful sight, and it's not a wonderful sight. It's a double-edged sword, because it's wonderful that this calf is showing great motility. It can get about. It's thrifty. It's got loads of go about it, but it's not figured out where the milk comes from yet, and it's going to need us again to, like we did yesterday, to get it fed. So that's going to be our challenge for today, and it's not easy. You know, that's a big cow, and she's in good health now. You know, we were a bit worried about her a few weeks ago. She looked like she got a bit of a trapped nerve. She was not moving as freely as she normally would, and we're just getting a bit concerned. But about a week ago, she just see how it's really keen to feed. This is the time to feed it. As soon as we've done this broadcast, 8:30, I've arranged with Dale and all right, yes, yeah, don't worry. And she's trying to get the alpacas feed. Arranged with Dale and David to have another crack, and we're going to film it for our YouTube channel. So watch this space. Betsy Armstrong, lovely name. I like the name Birdie, a nod to the great Dickie Bird. And yeah, I just think it would be nice to acknowledge. You know, I'm not saying it's, you know, but I suppose any acknowledgement is better than being forgotten and not acknowledged, isn't it? So, Sheila Tate, morning Rob from a very chilly Sunderland. So, I think it's time to dig out your winter clothes and get some woolies on. Guy says, Dickie is a fantastic name for him, Rob. Thank you, Guy. And Sue says, morning Rob, Fern's calf is a handsome boy. He totally is. Got little red there, got big red there. And he's just wanting a feed, isn't he? He just wants to feed, and it's disappointing that he can't. But we will, you know, in a way, it's really good to get him to the point. We gave him his colostrum yesterday because he needs that first feed to give him the immunity and protection from disease. He obviously needs the nutrition because he's a baby, but he needs now to be hungry so that we can you know, persuade him to latch onto the teat. We'll have to sort of get him to suck our fingers. This is the methodology behind it. We'll persuade him to suck our fingers, and he'll do that lustily. We'll try and get a bit of milk on our fingers so it gives him the you know, the feeling that there's something there. If he persists, hopefully then we can entice his head to be lower. We can pop the teat in his mouth, and he'll suck. And that's the, you know, that's the method. That's the recipe. What we've got to do is deliver the perfect cake in terms of keeping Fern safe, keeping us safe, keeping the calf safe. Because obviously she might want to kick us when we start going near her udder. We don't want her to kick the calf. We don't want her to kick us. So yeah, we've got a challenge, but it's a challenge. You know, we've done it before. We'll do it again. We either put her on a halter and hope that we can persuade her to not kick us, or we pop her in the crush. The restraining crush is there, and it's a special Highland cow one. It's wider so that Fern's magnificent horns can fit in. So Julie says her udder is so low, which won't help. That's exactly the problem, Julie. Kay says, good morning, Rob, from a bright but chilly Halifax. What a sweet little one she is. Ali Jackson Bolt says, good morning, Farmer Robert, and all staff at Cannonall Farm, and everyone watching. Good morning to you. Nancy says, good morning, Rob. Whenever she comes across, I just move away because she's very, very capable of just slapping her horns against the bars to trap your fingers. Denise says, good morning, Cannonall Farm. Hello, Fern. Your calf is adorable. And Pam says, morning, Rob, from East Sussex, in a special year for your parents. I think it would be nice if they named the calf. Yeah, I think they're pretty sold on Dickie. But yeah, they would always have the deciding vote. And Diane Brooks, Dickie's a lovely name for him, a tribute to a true Barnsley gentleman. And Deanne says, morning everyone, hope you're all well. Maureen says, good morning from Ayrshire. I've already got my thermal vest on. Good luck with the wee calf. Thank you. I think we're going to need it. You see, he's not even in right ballpark, is he? He's a foot too high. You know, it's not even like he's, you know, close to latching. He's definitely going to need help. Joanne says, good morning, Rob. How are you doing with your leg? I'm doing fine, thank you. And Wendy says, good morning, Farmer Rob, and good morning on your lovely Fern and her beautiful calf. She's looking so well. She looks a picture, doesn't she? She looks champion. She looks $1 million. She's come out of this calving so very, very well. It's unbelievable as he takes a step back. Because has horns, knows how to use them. And she goes off again, so we can get back in. Pamela says, watching from East Sussex on the coast. Love watching always. Thank you, Pamela. And Vera says, good morning, everyone. Catherine says, good morning, Farmer Rob. Good morning to you. Karen says, loved Yorkshire Farm yesterday. Congratulations to Shona. We were filming with Shona yesterday, and I complimented her on a fringe. I said, it really suits you. I said, will you have your fringe on your wedding day? She says, no, because it was a wedding programme last night on the Yorkshire Vet. So if you didn't watch it, tune in and watch it. Murat Banu says, good Rob from southwest Turkey. Good morning to you. And Jane says, good morning, Rob. Good morning, Jane. Samantha says, morning, Farmer Rob and everyone. Highland cows are my favourite. They're hard to beat, aren't they? You know, they're certainly the breed of animal. Those and the Shire horses, which I think draw most comments from you guys. Leslie says, morning all from a chilly but dry Dorset. And Janet Moorhouse said, Dickie is a great nod to the great Dickie Bird. Shell says, good morning, Rob. Maggie says, good morning, Farmer Rob and all the Farmy Army. And Yvonne says, good morning. Lorna says, good morning. What a great start to the morning, seeing Fern and her new little calf. Beautiful. Chris says, Fern looking wonderful. And Linda says, call him Bracken to match Fern. Hilary says, good morning, Rob. Good morning to Hilary. And Bernie says, has Mystic Roger seen the little beauty? I'm sure he has. Yes, he has. So yeah, we're filming with Shona yesterday. She was in great form. Stanley, Xander and Guinness were on the Yorkshire Vet last week. Shona was on it last night getting married to James. We wish them all the very best. Hopefully for a lifetime together. Linda enjoyed watching the wedding last night. Janet says the calf needs to get on its knees to feed exactly. Janet says the Yorkshire Vet was super. Lovely wedding. Shona looked beautiful. Well, she's got a fringe going on now. And we were filming yesterday. And as she arrived, we do that thing. Hiya, Shona. Hiya, Rob. Hiya, Dave. That sort of thing. And I said, oh, I love your fringe. And they didn't make me redo it. So if you see one where I say, oh, I love your fringe, that was the day. Betsy says, my absolute favourite. Can't wait to visit Fern and her calf. I adore Highland cows. Shirley Foster, Dickie would have been proud to have a Highland named after him. I'm sure he would. And Pauline Ellis Kent says, good morning, Rob. Irene says, Lord Bracken for Fern's calf. And Carol says, morning from Elgin, Scotland. Jim says, good morning, Rob, from Aldershot. Will Fern be uncomfortable with all that milk, says Pat. Well, we emptied her out yesterday, Pat. So I think she's all right at the moment. The answer is yes, if left. You know, if left alone, they'd both have a problem, wouldn't they? But we're not going to do that. Pamela Cooper, Yorkshire Vet was fabulous. Lots of love. Me and Mr. and Mrs. Green on there too. Wish they could live forever. Utterly adorable old farming couple are they. Love you guys too, Rob. That's from Pamela Cooper. Yeah, I echo those sentiments, Mr. and Mrs. Green. An absolute Yorkshire institution. So, what else have we got coming up? The forecast of the weekend is quite good. I think tomorrow's looking a bit rough, isn't it? But apart from that, the week is looking reasonable. So that's good. Be nice for our pumpkin event. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yes, thank you. Not looking forward to later. Just one of those things. We've got to come out of it in one piece. Got to come out of it with her udder emptied, that calf's tummy filled, us with all our limbs intact, and features unaltered. And yeah, it sounds simple. It's not simple, but it's doable if we're careful and use the facilities that we've got available to us. So Janet says it's my 31st wedding anniversary today, so we're going to Llandudno, Wales for a few days. Have a fabulous time, Janet. Many congratulations. Janet says good morning everyone, and Helen says morning all. Love watching the Yorkshire Vet last night, and I caught her live yesterday for the first time in a while. Excellent. So it was lovely to see Hannah, Ruby and Blossom. So that was a supporters live. So very grateful to all our supporters, and in fact all the watchers, wherever you come from, whatever you do. Jean says, good morning Farmer Rob and all at Cannon Hall Farm, and Janice says, morning Cannon Hall and all the team. So please, if you can find it in your way to give us a follow on YouTube, those of you who are YouTube watchers, we're trying to grow that strand, that media, that strand of media, and it's one that we think can be good to us. You know, it gives us the chance to do longer, any length videos, to be honest, medium and longer form videos. Obviously, it's somewhere that you can access the podcast from, which is very important to us. So if anyone's not been watching or listening to the podcast, please give it a try. You know, it's nothing fancy. It's just what we do, what we think about things, and it's a chance to have a slightly longer natter about stuff. I suppose a bit like this job. You know, if you like the live broadcast, then I'm sure the podcast would be something you know that you'd hopefully appreciate. Karen says, I'm partly deaf, I bet, so can't hear. Is he still not feeding, or is it another problem? Can one of the followers please tell me? Can someone tell Karen that he's he's fitting well, but he's not latched yet. We milked Fern yesterday and fed him with the bottle, so he's got a suck reflex, but at the moment he's not working out for himself. Can you see he's just going too high? And he's basically sucking a tail at the moment, which is no good at all. No good for him, no good for Fern. And she's got an itch that she's trying to scratch. So what we might do, at the same time as taking the milk off her and hopefully teaching him to drink, we might drop a little injection that would take care of any mites, if that is indeed an issue. So that's something that we'll probably do at the same time. But we're going to have to get her on a halter or get her in the crush. So Sarah has shared. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, please give us a share if you can. Please give us a follow on YouTube if you can, if you're interested in watching what we get up to, and some of the everyday trials and tribulations of running a livestock farm in the heart of Barnsley. Karen says, morning Farmer Rob, watching from Almeria in Spain. Unbelievable. Nikki says, me and my family are coming to Canal Farm for Pumpkin Festival on Sunday. We can't wait. Well, the weather forecast is really good, so we will sell out this weekend. So if you know you're coming, get your tickets, because don't be disappointed. Marilyn said, did you not film it on Facebook for us? Marilyn Brown, not sure what we're meaning. Sharon says, morning Rob, and Janula Diamond Painting, they are still training him how to drink, but he is fitting well. They are bottle feeding him as well to help him, absolutely. Abby Matthews loves the podcast. Thank you, Abby. And Susan says, good morning, farmers all. Good morning to you, Susan. Susan Barrington. Sue says, morning, Rob. Welcome, little man. And Janice Bradley says, morning, Rob and everyone. So he's a good calf. He's a bull calf. We need a name for him, but he's a tail sucker at the moment, not a teat sucker. So we've got to sort that out. As soon as we've done talking to you, I've got Dale hung up at the back of the door, ready to come down. This, metaphorically speaking, he's not hung up at the back of the door, but yes, thank you very much. Could have been my fingers. Linda loves the podcast. Karen says, Leslie Williams, I must admit I'm concerned. I thought this would happen. Bless him, he needs help. It's happened every time, hasn't it? But I don't think we've had any. We don't think any of the others have been as far away from hitting the target as this one. CJ Thurston is watching from Vancouver, Canada. Thank you for the update. No problem. Thank you for watching. And Yvonne Helen says, hey up, Rob. I'm so happy to be here with you. Well, that's lovely. And I'm happy that you're here with us. And Lisa says, morning from Suffolk. Pamela says, Rob, are you dressing up? Are you dressing up, Ree Pumpkin? I don't think so. And, oh, there's a stars party going on. Look at that. Wow, that looks great. Thank you to the people who sent stars this morning. That was 500 stars from Catherine Williams. Thank you. Helen follows us on YouTube. Thank you. Annette says, good morning, Rob. So cute. 1,500 people watching. Linda says, morning, Rob. Short stay this morning. My dog is going to the vet. Oh, no. I hope it's just routine. Maria says, Gully for the new calf's name after the film Gully. And morning from Suffolk says, Lisa. Ria Mayhew Holmes loves the podcast. Thank you. And Bonnie says, he is a cutie. He's definitely a cutie, but he's definitely struggling to... well, he's not latching, is he? He's a million miles off it. Ruth listens to the podcast on my drive home from work each week. Lovely, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'll keep my fingers clear of you, missus. Would you video when you feed the cat? Yeah, we're going to video it for YouTube. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. Please follow us on YouTube. We're going to put videos on there that aren't necessarily on Facebook. We're not doing less, we're doing more. We're just going to do more and try and populate both channels so that there's something for Facebookers, for YouTubers, for Instagrammers, for... I've said I'm not doing TikTok, I'm too old. Does anyone here watch TikTok? I'm definitely not a TikToker. Sue says, good morning, Rob. How about Buffalo Bob? Why not? And Lulu Annie Smith says, morning, Rob. Good morning to you. And Anne-Marie Sanderson, definitely something making her itch. Bless her. Yeah, well, we can do something about that, and we will. Alan says, morning. Deborah says, good morning, Rob, from Debbie in Eckington, Derbyshire. Mary says, morning, Rob. Greetings from Little Haywood. And Anne says, good morning, all from a chilly North Bedfordshire. Loved the Yorkshire Vet last night. What a lovely wedding. And Paris says, morning, all. Barbara says, call him Tails. Heads or tails. Joanne says, good morning, Rob. Beautiful sight to see. So we've got to feed him. We know it's to do. We know we can do it. We're going to give it our level best. Well, we're going to, you know, one way or another, we'll win. You see, look here, he's just sucking that tail. Absolutely no good at all to him. But the great news is we milked Fern out totally late yesterday morning, emptied the lot. He drunk the lot in the form of a bottle with a teat on the end. So he's had one tummy full of milk. He's been enough to sustain him for 24 hours. But now that 24 hours is up, almost up, and it's 20 hours ago, he's ready for another feed. Fern's ready for her udder emptying. We've got David, we've got Dale, we've got, and we're going to film it. We're going to film it for YouTube, and but the challenge is keeping the calf safe. We don't want the calf kicked by mum. Karen likes TikTok. 62, there's hope for me then, Karen. Adam says Bracken keeping it with the Fern theme. So we've got to keep the calf safe. We don't want kicking by mum. We've got to keep Fern safe because we don't want her upset. We want her kept nice and even. Easier said than done, but we're going to do our absolute level best. But we've got to get that milk from her. We've got to get that milk into the calf. We can't just speak sweetly to her and expect it to happen. We're going to have to put her on a halter, or we're going to have to put her in the crush. We're going to have to teach that calf to drink from the teat. It comes with its risks, that we can't say it doesn't. The risks are mainly to us. So yeah, we're going to do it. But we're determined that we all go home tonight in one piece. That's the main thing with all these things. That we want these animals to be protected and nourished. And look at him. But but we want to stay healthy and well as well. So it's yeah. I just wish he'd run forward, drop his head down, suck that teat, and we could all crack on with our day, couldn't we? Mary says, "Morning, Robert. My heart goes out to the little one. He wants to feed, but he doesn't know how exactly. Exactly that. We've got to help him, and we will help him. And like I said, we're going to film it, and it's one for our YouTube channel. So please follow us on YouTube. Please, hopefully enjoy the content that we put on there. We're about to become YouTubers, but which we already, we're not YouTubers, but we're about to put more of our stuff on that platform. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, yes, don't you, Mrs. Look at that. It's a long way through the gate, that. And at the same time, we're going to give her pop a little injection just under her skin. She won't even feel it. And if there is any mite activity, then it'll sort that out. Angela says, "Oh, Rob, your chats are my favourite, really." And Melissa says, "Good morning from Deb." And Chris says, "Morning, fam, Rob. Pass away yesterday. Love Yorkshire Rose." Melanie says, "He's definitely a hungry boy. Just wish there was a magic one to help him latch." Exactly. That's how I feel, Melanie. "Hope all goes well," says Mark Sparks. And Pauline says, "I don't do YouTube." No heck. Can you do it? Can you get someone to help you? Apparently, right, you can get it on your television. If you've got a smart television, I'm told, you can actually get it played to the television in your house. But don't worry, we'll still be showing, loads of stuff on here, and as we're doing now. Give her a scratch, poor girl, says Sarah. Sarah, I think I would lose my hand. But we've got a plan in place to make everything right, to make everyone happy. Anne says, "Good morning, farmers Robert and Dave and all the farming army. It's a little chilly down here in Somerset. It is chilly. With a little bit of sun. I'm cold actually at the moment. With a little bit of sun at the moment. I feel really cold." That's a lethal weapon, says Chris Noble. Well, it could be. We're joking apart. It actually could be. Harper Collins says they really are. Diane says, "I watch YouTube and it's been watching the old ones that I haven't. I've been watching the old ones I haven't watched." Yes, YouTube on TV, says Sue Presnell. And Yvonne says, "Have your mum and dad had their COVID and flu jabs, Rob?" I've had mine. Yes, is the answer. One in each arm. Annette says, "Yes, you can get it on your smart TV." And Julie says, "Morning, Rob. Love seeing seeing Fern and her baby. Hope she starts feeding by herself soon. We will get there. We will." Vicky says, "I play YouTube through my TV. It's great." And Pauline says, "I watch your podcasts on YouTube." Excellent. Thank you for all this. And what else have we got? Pamela says, "So sorry, but I have to get ready to get a bus to Eastbourne. Have a fab day. Looking forward to seeing you live." Thank you, Pamela. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the bus ride. I think riding on buses is good fun. Christine says, "Much prefer Facebook to YouTube to watch Cannon on Farm." Right, well, don't worry. We are cracking on with both. And Pat says, we're definitely not doing any less on Facebook. Not at all. And Lynn says, "Morning, Rob. Any new lambs during the night?" Were there any new lambs during the night? We'll head up there and have a look. Mary says, "Good morning, Rob and everyone from Alabama, USA." And Julie says, "Morning, Rob. Just tuned in." Anne Harper says, "And me." So still 1,600 people watching. So thank you for your interest. Thank you for watching this little calf. What does everyone think? Do we call it Dickie after Dickie Bird, a tribute to a Barnsley gentleman? What do you think? Tell us. Jan says, "I'm going to follow you on YouTube because I'm invested in that not-so-little calf now." And Diana says, "Morning, Rob. They are adorable." Claire says, "Love YouTube. The comment section tends to be less tintinetty." Right. Claire says, "Morning, Farmer Rob. Thank you for this lovely live from a cold Gainsborough, Lincolnshire. I'm frozen this morning." Lorna said, "I'm glad you're still going to be on here, Farmer Rob, as I don't watch YouTube." 100%, Lorna. We're going nowhere. Will says, I sometimes watch YouTube on Echo Show. You see, there's so much going on out there, isn't there? So much going on. For an old Luddite like me, if I didn't have my family to help me, I'd never do anything different. I'd just keep doing same old, same old. Pam says, hello from Australia. Finally found the Yorkshire vet here. Excellent, well done. Oh, here we come, here we come. No, thank you. She's saying, just you keep your distance, you. And Gillian says, I watch YouTube on the telly through my husband's PlayStation because your telly isn't smart. Tracy says, yes, definitely, Dickie. Trudy says, definitely, Dickie. Jenny says, morning, everyone. Catherine T says, what's the concern with the calf? Only just joined. Catherine, the concern is it can't feed because it doesn't know to go low to suckle off Fern's teats. Fern she's a big grand cow. She's in great order, but her udder, is low when it's full of milk, especially. She's not quite twigged that she's got to get her head down. Or he's not quite twigged that he's got to get his head down to suckle. So we've got the job of either popping her on a halter. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We've got to pop her on a halter and teach the calf to drink without Fern maiming us, and obviously without her kicking the calf. So it's not, these things. They're all a challenge. They don't happen without a bit of skill and a bit of determination, a bit of bravery sometimes. Wendy says, that's interesting, Farmer Rob. I will look into that and get my son-in-law to look at my TV as it's a smart TV. Excellent, yeah. Well, make the most of it, make use of it. Why not? Gail says, keep Dickie. Dickie is a lovely tribute to a great Yorkshire man. And Janice Smith says, yes to Dickie Bird. So there's support for Bracken, there's support for Dickie, but I think I'll probably let my mum and dad. Someone suggested let your mum and dad decide, and I think I probably will. Joan says, I haven't got a smart TV. Will you be doing what you do now? 100%, Joan. No different. No different at all. Winston's awake, says Jenny. It's just what we're saying is that there's other platforms to share the message on. A lot of the stuff will be the same, but there will be individual stuff for each. And we'll be giving her an injection. I don't necessarily know that it's mites that's causing her, but when you house livestock in the winter months, then mites need constantly keeping at bay. Carol says, good morning, Farmer Rob and Fern and a baby. Good morning to you. And Laura says, you can watch YouTube on TV or on phone, computer or tablet. Thank you for that. Christopher Stevenson, got to be Dickie. And Jill says, get well soon. Kendra says, Rob, are you doing lamb feeding experience with the Valais? If we get any Valais that need bottle feeding, 100%. And maybe the goats as well. And Jean says, poor little calf has give up and he's got down for a nap. Exactly. He's just, and this is the problem, right? He's only got so much petrol in his tank. Right? Only so much petrol. When that petrol runs out, the engine stops. So we're not at that point. We're nowhere near that point. We're at the point now where he's hungry. We need him to be hungry. For us to use our fingers to entice him onto those teats, to drink the milk, right, he needs to be hungry. We feel as though sometime in the next couple of hours is the sweet spot. In terms of him still having loads of strength to do it, but him having the hunger and desire to feed. We need him sort of on the verge of ravenous, and by doing that we can then teach him to drink and hopefully solve the problem. So that's the challenge, and that's what we're going to do. Lindsay says, Jill Reaney, thank you. So we're asking for YouTube followers if YouTube is your thing. Julie says, sounds like you've an heck of a job. No for Dickie Bird. Oh, heck. Susan says, Bracken was Fern's calf last year. I would definitely go for all right, so we've had a Bracken. Excellent. Dickie Bird's a fab name and a tribute, Rob. I don't suppose we'd be talking about calling it Dickie, would we, if Dickie hadn't passed? You know, I suppose it's that thing of paying due homage to someone who devoted their life to cricket, a game that I've really enjoyed. I'm not devoting my life to it, but I've had a lot of enjoyment from it, and still enjoy watching it. I'm looking forward to the Ashes, actually. Is there anyone out there from Australia? Anyone out there is looking forward to the Ashes? Jill says it would be best to stop filming and getting on to feed the calf. It's very uncomfortable to watch. That's Jill Gibbons. I can't do it on my own, Jill. And we've set a time of 8:30 to do it. And rest assured, if we try and do that before that calf is hungry enough, we'll fail. So I think you just need to trust us on that one, and know that we will always put the animal first. Maria says, Fern Gully after the film, Gully for the name for the new calf, and Sally says, good morning. Jackie Arnold says, Dickie would be perfect. Right, on what we're going to do now, we're going to nip up to the roundhouse. We're going to look at the Swiss Valais lambs. We're looking at some goats here that are molasses drunk. They've got molasses buckets and it's all over the beards. And they just look to be really enjoying that particular feed. So we'll say thank you to the alpacas for hosting us. We'll say thank you to Fern in anticipation of not maiming us later, hopefully. And that is Primrose, who is enjoying a molasses. Aren't you, Flower? Eh? So we've got Millie and Primrose here. For those of you who go back to the days of lockdown, that's Primrose. That's Millie. Two real stars of that time. So Lucy says, someone said Pumpkin. I think that's a lovely name. So that's Millie. And Martina says, morning, Rob, Thor, Toby, Duke. Thank you for those. Iris says, just caught up on your explanation of Fern's calf, Rob. Thank you. No problem, Iris. Claire says, Linda Moore, we are still going to be broadcasting on Facebook, 100%. Don't worry about that. And Vicky can't wait for the Ashes, neither can I. Right, so here's Jigsaw. Jigsaw is always waiting, aren't you, Flower? And Jigsaw is a nice donkey. But then again, I've never met a nasty donkey. Billy and Primrose have chilled with age. They have. Becky said, hey, Rob, where is the famous five? I think the famous five are in here, actually. Hello, Trouble. One's having its breakfast. Yeah, they're in there, the ones with red tags. That's how we know them. The famous five have got red tags if you're visiting. Carol said, Linda, yes, they said they're doing both. We're definitely not doing any less on Facebook, rest assured. If anything more, because we've got more content. You know, Charlie provides us with wonderful videos and photographs, and you know, he's a content creator. He does some really good stuff, as do many members of the farm team. I'm sure you'll have noticed that we're getting more and more engagement from the rest of the group, and it's very, very welcome, because there's more stuff to share on, and if we're going on to other platforms, we are going to need more stuff. So look at this, Big Red and Little Red having a moment together. Jigsaw and the gang are super cute, says Victoria, and Judith says, we all remember Primrose and Millie from watching during lockdown. We absolutely do. And Little Red's getting up. So we did a bit of training with Little Red yesterday. Those of you who visited might have seen us walking her up and down. She did really well, actually. Joan can remember when Millie sat on my head. And Carol says Charlie is great. And Cannon Hall Farm says Farmer Richard's cookbook is out soon and available to pre-order at merch.cannonhallfarm.co.uk. Yeah, anyone who's wanting to sample recipes from our family history, consider, or you want to buy it as a present for someone, consider the Cannon Hall Farm cookbook. And I think they arrive on Wednesday, today. They arrive today. So they physically arrive today, so that's exciting. And they'll be, I think it's published on the 8th of November or something like that. So, but you can get your pre-orders now to get a signed copy. Jenny says, oh, that nose. She's a great little calf, this, you know. It's not that little, look at her. She's a great confirmation. You know, my dad thinks that she's the bee's knees. I think she's absolutely the business. Oh, you squirrel. Hey? Well. Oh. Right, I am cold. I'm going to need another jumper on when we've done here. Right, we're going to nip and see these lambs, and then I'm hopefully going to get that calf fed. That's the plan. So, right. Come with me. Oh, God, my groin. I've tweaked my groin. We did Julie and I last week, we did a 29-mile ride on a bike. Right, you might say Gioa. Gioa means give over in Barnsley. You might say Gioa. But we did have the benefit of an electric bike, right? So that and it did make the hills a lot easier, but it didn't make them easy. You know, it was still a challenge, and it was very enjoyable. I very much enjoyed it. One of the best things I've done in a long time. I felt as free as a bird, just scooting along the. It's a lovely day today, you know. Look at this now. It was dark when I went in there. Look at it now. Look at it. Let me show you. Look at that. Let's drive down here. I'll just give you a bit of a tour of the sun coming up above Barnsley. What's going on here? I've got a load of straw here. So, tractor there. So David's just unloaded straw, that's what's going on. Just look at that. So this looks proper, doesn't it? Plenty of grass down here. Look at them horses. Let me show you this. That's worth $1 of anyone's money, isn't it? Look at them. This is absolutely free. So we've got Silver and Brooke, and don't they look beautiful? Brooke was washed yesterday, and she looks $1 million. We've got Yorkshire Rose and Blossom. We've got Ruby, and then we've got the big girl, Grace. And this, what we've done here is we've started the new menage area. So we're making some gated areas around the stables. And then the menage area is going to be sometimes a communal, sometimes an individual, sometimes a little riding arena, sometimes, you know, just somewhere where they can all go out and have a charge about. So it's going to be a facility that will benefit the whole of the equine community at Cannon Hall Farm. Look at that mist clinging to the grassland meadows down there. What a lovely sight. Lone seagull and 2 wood pigeons. Off we go. So we're just giving you a little tour of the Yorkshire Yorkshire landscape. So to recap, we've had the calf born. Fern's had a calf. It's a real belter, natural birth, all captured for probably winter on the farm, probably where you'll see it. Might be on YouTube, might be on Facebook. In fact, you're probably on all of those forums at some point, so don't worry, you're not going to miss it. And but now we've got to get it feeding. We managed to feed it yesterday. We've got to repeat the process today, and it won't be easy. Right? It won't be easy, but we're going to do it. It won't be without its danger. But it's got to be done. Luckily, we're only young lads and we're nimble. Right, so let's sign off, because I haven't got as long this morning, because we are going to get that calf fed. But we're going to sign off with some Swiss Valais lambs for 10 minutes. Give you a little tour of what's going on with these. I fed them all this morning, or everything that needed it, and I've topped the vast majority up actually, because for whatever reason they've not really come into the milk as well as I would have liked. So that's been a bit of a challenge. But there's loads of things that are a challenge, isn't there? If life was easy, it wouldn't be interesting. That said, it'd be nice if it were a bit easier sometimes. So here we go. I think there's Charlie up here. He's a good lad. Very conscientious. Cares a lot. Or maybe he's not. Oh. So, right, let's start across here and work our way around. Hello, sweetheart. You know, when you see someone and you haven't seen him for 10 years and you think, he used to be a boy and now look at him. I've just seen someone driving that tractor. He used to be like a little, you know, a little lean kid, and now he looks proper big and burly. Not burly in a bad way, you know, it looks like he's, you know, very muscly and grown up. I just can't believe it's him. Right, so 2 little lambs in there, fed both of them. If Mum would just move her head a bit, we'd be able to see him, wouldn't we? Come on, squirrel, let's have a look at you. There, can you see those? 2 little lambs, both doing well. So she's doing a good job. I'm having to support her with extra feed though. Right, so 1,400 people watching. Please give us a share if you want to see Swiss Valais lambs to your pals on Facebook. So another one there. So that's a good one, isn't it? Come on, Flower, let's have a look at him. That's a single, and that's doing champion. I still gave it a bit of milk. Victoria said, is the Spitty Valley expecting a lamb or 2? I think it might be a single. And Lily says, have a good day. There we are, little one. Are they the cutest lamb around? Could be, and that's a well-marked one, isn't it, that one? Really well-marked. I mean, all lambs are cute, aren't they? But, I mean, they do have a certain style, don't they, these Swiss Valais? So, again, I've had this one. Just feeding under his tummy. And you can sort of, if you feel under the tummy, you can get a guide for whether they're empty, because they haven't got loads of milk just yet, these ewes, and there's no reason why they shouldn't have, because, you know, they've been well fed, and you're always a bit nervous when a lot of them are carrying singles. You don't want to overfeed them. But you can generally tell, if you pop the tube straight into its tummy and hear a strong gurgle, and the milk disappears straight in, then you know there's room for that milk. If the milk goes down quite slowly, then you know, obviously the stomach is nearing capacity. So but you know, through experience, you can tell what needs it. Also, the way they're acting. If they're looking to feed all the time, if every time you go in, that lamb, when the ewe gets up, the lamb goes to feed, you know it's not getting satisfied. So, and that's down to milk supply. This one's got 2. Fed both those as well. This one I didn't feed. That's been born longest. Look at that, it's up, it's stretching. That one is satisfied. Just feel under there, you can see it's got a tummy full of milk, that one. And this one I gave a drop to. Again, that was only born yesterday. That's a nice one, good lamb. And she's a good ewe, isn't she? She's pretty. And then this one is the one, that's Pumpkin. That's the one that we had a problem with its joints knuckling over. But this one's now getting enough milk from its mum, so that's good. I didn't have to give that any. And that feels full. That's again up and stretching. And thankfully, look, it's stood properly on its feet. That one's still just knuckled over just a bit of an angle, but that one's not. So I'd say that's definitely going the right way. And nothing in that one, so is there anything else that's going to lamb? I noticed one of these was very, very well bagged up. That one. But there's any of these could lamb in the very near future and will. They're all scanned. Some straw in these picking out. Quite a big mound of straw here. I'll try and get. In fact, I'll put it in some of those pens when we finish the broadcast. Right then, guys, I'm going to put this bit of straw in these pens. I'm going to go and feed the calf. You know, that is the next big challenge for us. So wish us luck with that. And thank you for your messages of support and encouragement. We're hoping it'll go seamlessly well. We managed to do it yesterday, so we know what we need to do. It's just a matter of making sure we do it and keep everyone and everything safe. So from Farmer Robert Cannon Farm, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you all very, very soon. So please keep your notifications turned on. And we'll be back at you maybe even today if some more goats or some more lambs decide to enter the world. So thanks for watching. See you later, everyone. Bye bye.